Alright, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to look at how to create this particular hotel summer booking dashboard. Before we start digging into the data itself, let us look at what the task is all about. We have received a mail from Ben Johnson, a hotel manager, saying he needs a detailed dashboard. In his mail, he said, "We have a hotel dataset containing resort and city hotel data from 2015 to 2017. Our central interest is to get insight from the year 2016 on the resort hotel during the summer period, July and August. Although we will need to see insight on other months too. Our other focuses are cancellation level, average daily rate, and revenue made compared to revenue lost on a monthly basis. Below is the Excel file containing the data." Now let us look at the point of focus to have this dashboard created. Number one is the hotel type, which is gonna be the resort. Remember, we have two types of hotels. And the second measure is gonna be, the second dimension rather, is gonna be the year, which is gonna be 2016 because it is 3 years data. And the third dimension is gonna be the period, that is gonna be July and August. While the focus measures would definitely be number one, cancellation level, and the second one is gonna be average daily rate, while the third one is gonna be revenue generated, and the last but not least is gonna be revenue lost. So combining those measures and the dimension together, we're gonna have something as great as what we have on our screen right now. So let us travel back to Power BI desktop to see what we can do. To be a great storyteller with data, you have to buttress your visuals with some captions. Right now, if you look at this particular chart we have right here, we see there is increase in revenue in July and August, but also loss to cancellations. Over 987,000 US dollars were lost to cancellation in July and August, despite that we have a very high, turnover. Not just that, we make recommendations to make the story to be completed. And as well, if you look at other visual, we've just used the same logic to actually have those particular captions to tell more story about what those visuals are all about. If you are ready to create something like this, let us dig on it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Alright, for we to get started right now, so we have to insert a blank PBRX without nothing on it. We can actually start to bring in our data, have it transform to what we want. So now you can actually click on Get Data. So you have to know the extension you're trying to get data from. So is it Excel workbook, is it CSV, or other file types, whatever it is. So I have my data inside Excel workbook. I'm going to double click it. So right now it navigates me to where I have the data right, and here is my data set. So double click it, and right now what we can do is to have the data opened inside Power Query for cleaning. So we have two tables right here, and this one is actually sheet 1 and all of that. So I'm gonna go with sheet 1, and you can just click right here to have those ones right some kind of active, and click on transform to have your data transformed. But if you are very sure of the data to be very clean, go ahead and click on load. Right now I'm gonna click on transform. Alright, welcome to the Power Query environment. So the first thing I'm gonna do right here is just to come here. So I'm gonna have this one changed to facts or table. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is that I don't want to actually have all my tables inside one single, all my columns or all my data inside one single table. I can decide to split the table. The right click and go ahead and say duplicate. And now that we've just gotten it duplicated, the next thing we're going to do right now is to some kind of like, we have this hotel right here. I want to show you an example of what to do if you want to have multiple tables from one table. And the reason being is that if you have these multiple tables from one table, it's going to make your dashboard to be very, simple and easy to be refreshed, no delaying time and stuff like that if you keep having more data always. But if you leave it in one single table that has a lot of columns, so it's going to be some kind of a little bit heavy and all of that. So it is always advisable to do this if it has not been done by the ETL guys that got you the data. So right click from here and go ahead and say remove other columns, and what you have is just one single column. And the next thing you have to do is just to come right here and say remove rows, and now we're trying to remove duplicates. So what we just have is gonna be two hotels, resort and city. And the next thing we're going to do right now is to just click on add column and add indexed number. I just want to show you this example. It's not really important on this particular tutorial, but it's very important for you to know that something like this exists. So just name this one my hotel ID. So once you've named this to a hotel ID, can bring this right here, so rearrange it. That is all you need to do. The next one is just double click on this part right here and just say look up table hotel. So now that is all. So next is for me to click right here, and I'm gonna go to home, and from home you can see merge query right here. Just go ahead and click on merge query, and once merge query comes up, you have to actually merge the two tables together. So I'll have this one opened, and here we go, we have it here. And the next thing to do is to locate where we have the hotel right in. If you can't find it here, you can actually scroll through to get it, but right now here we go, and make sure you connect it to this one. So you're gonna have 100% connection, and it has to be left outer join. So as you can see right here under this particular part is 100% match. That is what you should do. So once you're done with that, you can actually click on OK, and now we have it right here. The next thing to do is to click right here and just uncheck this and check this, and what we want is just the hotel ID. So we have to click on that and click on OK. So right now we are going to have our hotel ID populated right here. You can see we have it, and if we have it open, because we just have two hotels, so we're gonna have 0 and 1. So well, I have been doing this, I've done this multiple times on my channel, so you can take a look at that. So now we are done with this. The next thing to do right now is to scroll through where we have that, and here is it. So we can have this one deleted, so we don't need to have it right here, so the ID would cover for us. So we don't have much to do. From here we can actually close and load to. So if we need anything, we are going to go back to our Power Query to have whatever we need, some kind of changed and transformed, and that is all. Okay, now we have our data right here, and if we go to the data view, what we can see, click on the table, you can see all the data we've seen on Power Query would definitely be shown right here as well. Can you see it? That is beautiful. Right now, let us go to the relationship view. Now here we go. We have this particular table not to be connected to this one yet. So all I can do is to just go down and find where you have the hotel ID. So what you can do is either to drag this onto this or to drag this onto this one right here. And with this, we have just gotten our relationship created, and it is one-to-many relationship. So we have two hotels exist right in here, and the hotel has a lot of transactions on this particular transactional or fact table. So the next thing to do right now is to create our date table. If you had been watching my previous video before now, you would have seen how I got my date table created. I am not going to waste much of my time right on that, so I am going to leave a code for you to copy and paste right on your own, and you're going to have the date table. So let me go here on the previous one I've created. I'm going to click on calendar. So it's a very simple code that you can use to actually, do anything you want to do in Power BI. So now here we have it. So this is just the code. I have more advanced code than this. If you watch my video, you'll see how I get to create all this. Add more columns if you want to add columns beyond what we have right now. So that is beautiful. So we can actually click off and we can hit back, or we can go to here, and now we need to actually add a new table. So I'm going to click on new table right here. Let me have this one opened. So now from here we can click on new table, and if the new table comes up, what we need to do is to paste in the code we've just copied right in here. Can you see it? This is what we've just copied from the previous one we've created. So now we have it here. All we need to do is to hit enter, and it's going to scan through our fact table and create date that matches the date in our fact or transactional table for us. So we are not done yet. The next thing we have to do right now is to make sure we some kind of like do something before we go. So the first thing is this: if we should live by what we have right here right now, it's not going to be according to January down to December. It's going to be some kind of mixed up. So I'm not going to show you the process. Once you do this, please go ahead and create a chart and see how it looks. But what you can do to fix that is this: come right here on that sort. Already I have created this particular month number to help you sort this, and I have created this particular week number to help you sort the week or this, all that. So now you just have to come right here, and now we can go to month number. So that would actually help us to sort it according to month number from 1 to 12. All right, once that is done, the next one is going to be the weekday. Just come right here and click on sort and by week number, and that is all we have to do for now. So the next thing is for you to click on this particular table tools. Once you click on it, the next thing you're going to do right now is to locate where you have marked as a date table. Go ahead and click on it, and you can see right here, click on it and come here, have it opened and select date, and you're going to have it marked of successful. So now we can click on OK. So once we're done from here, what we need to do again is to go back to our relationship view, and now here we have our calendar table. So I'm going to take this one down, let our relationship flows from the top to the bottom. So you can have this closed, we don't really need it. So right now we have to link this to the date. So we are going to link the arrival date to my calendar table right here. So here we have it. So it has been linked one to many. If I go back to this particular aspect right now and I open the calendar table, we're going to have this we don't need to use. Why don't we hide it instead? So we can click right on this particular place. Once we click on it, we can see where we have hide. So it's going to be hidden from our view from here. So we can actually also go right back here, and you can see the one we've actually hidden is actually cancelled. And if you look at this month number right here, you can click on the eye icon, and you're gonna have it some kind of hidden once you get back to our report view. That is all you need to do to actually have it some kind of hidden. So now coming back right here right now, we can see the week number. So now we have a clean slate already for now. So it is time for we to start writing our measure. So one more thing before we proceed, I always love to organize my measure inside a measure table. So let's do that. So coming right to home, you can see where we have enter data. Go ahead and click on enter data, and you're gonna see a pop-up just like this. So type whatever you want to type right on the table name right here. Name your table anything. I'm gonna type in here all measures. So if I have multiple measures for different purposes, I always love to open folder for this. If you watch my other video, you'll see how I did that. I'm gonna load this, and it's gonna be loaded right here, and this is where all the measures we are going to be created will definitely come. Right now, we are not going to worry about the design. Let us achieve the visual and the captions to explain every single visual first before we talk about the designs. So the first thing we're going to do right now is to create this particular chart that says total revenue and total revenue lost. So I think we should actually update this to be total revenue generated, so that it could be very more elucidative to whoever is actually looking at this. So how do we go about this? Very simple and easy. Let's get on it. So going back to the data view, I'm going to open the fact table, and I want to take you through the column we're going to use. So we're going to have to aggregate this, create measure. The reason why we're not going to use this particular column by just dragging it is because we cannot branch out of it if we just did that. So we have to some kind of like, create a measure that we can branch out from to create more story beyond what this column can give to us. So we have to use this particular two columns I'm just kind of hovering over on right now. So going back right here, I have my measure table right in here. So you can right click from here and see where you have your new measure. So once you click on that, you're going to have the measure to pop out right at the top level here. So now you have it here. You can increase it so that we can see it better. And what we need to do is just to aggregate the column because already it has been calculated for us. So it's going to be total revenue. So it's going to be equal to, and simple sum function will definitely do the magic for us. And we just have to get to the column is revenue, and not revenue lost right now, is actually revenue. So once we have done this, we can hit our enter key, and that is the first measure we have just created. And the second measure right now, we don't have to some kind of go back to how we just created the first one, but clicking right on this particular new measure would actually open a new measure for us, which is going to be our second measure. And right here is going to be revenue lost. So it's going to be sum because already we have the column that actually contained all the revenue we lost during the cancellation. So it's going to be revenue, and this time around it's going to be the one that we lost. And once I hit my enter key, it gives me this. So one thing is very important to actually do when creating your measures. You have to do the number formatting quickly. So right now I have to make sure I come right here and select currency, and the default currency is actually US dollar sign right here. So you understand? So if you know you're going to have two decimal point or two decimal places, you can actually remove it by putting 0 right here, and that is all you have to do. So I'm going to do that to this particular total revenue created. So you can click on the icon right here. The same thing will be some kind of created for you. So just go ahead and actually remove the extra decimal if you know you have it, and that is gone. You have something clean right now. So how do we visualize this? We're going to actually look at it on a monthly basis. What are the level of revenue lost, and how much revenue did we generate? All right, the best chart for we to actually have this done is actually this tagged column chart, which is this one right here. So make sure you actually check this tagged column chart, and we have it right here. And the next thing is for we to select our month. That has been selected, so we can come to here, this particular part where we have the measure created right on, and actually click on revenue, and the next one is the revenue lost. So we go back right here, this is what we have. So to make sure we have something cool right now, we can actually open it up, something like this, and we can bring it down to create space for the top level. So right now we have to actually clean up the chart, right? But that is not the main issue for now. So the second thing we're going to do is for we to some kind of copy this and have it pasted right here. I'm going to have to drag it and have it here. So we have to reduce this a little bit to create space between here and here. So I'm going to have this closed for now. So click on this. So just create a little space right here. And in the middle we have a space already, just let it be. So what do we want right on this particular part? Let us go back to the previous one we've created. So right now we have average daily rates and cancellation by month on a monthly basis. So how do we do this? Don't forget we have some captions around it. We're gonna have this created, but let us deal with the visuals first. So going back to the data view, so I'm going to click on this particular fact table, and we're going to have a column called cancellation. Let us go to where we have it. So now we have this column. If I actually click right here right now, what I'm going to have is 0 and 1. So 0 means cancelled and 1 means, booked, and actually the customer came into the hotel. But this one, it was cancelled, that is 0. So we're going to actually use this column to actually see how many of our booking are cancelled and how many of the bookings are some kind of like checked in whatsoever. So let's come back here and on the measure area, so we're going to have to insert a new measure. So on this new measure, what we have to calculate first is actually numbers of transactions. So I'm going to actually type in here transaction. So it's going to be my count rows. So remember, the count rows will be looking for the table. It's going to count how many rows we have inside that table. That is where we have our major transactions right in, and which is our fact table. So you have to understand what is fact table and what is lookup table. So the fact table carries your transactions. Like one person can actually check into a hotel for like 10 good times in a month. So it's gonna be some kind of recorded under the fact table, not under the dimensional table. So I'm gonna have this closed, and this time around I'm gonna hit my enter key. That will definitely give me a count of how many transactions we have before we decide to see how many of those transactions are cancelled and how many of them are being checked in. So we just have to go by this separator right there. All right, now that we've done this, we want to check how many of it are actually cancelled. So we just have to insert a new measure. So under this new measure right now, I'm going to type in total cancellation. So it's going to be equal to. So now we just have to use calculate function. So we're going to use calculate function. So we're going to have to bring the measure we just created, which is the transaction we have just created. And this is the numbers of transaction right here. So I'm going to have my comma. So the second thing I'm going to do right now is to filter the cancellation from the total transaction we have, right? So how do we do that? So we just have to know the column we have to call for that particular filter expression. That is going to be cancel, and we have the table right, sorry, the column from the table right here, and we have to say where it is equal to 0. So remember, if you're making a reference to something that has to do with numbers, you don't have to actually have it on double quotation. It is only in a situation where you're trying to use like filtering man, female, male, whatsoever, that you can't have it on double quotation because the machine doesn't understand what it is. But if you're dealing with true and false, 0, you know, and functions, you don't have to put them on double quotation. Right now I'm going to actually make a reference to it as 0, and that is all I have to do. I'm going to have to close this for now and actually hit my enter key. So now we've just gotten this created. I can go ahead and have my comma right here. That's going to be my total cancellation, right? And what we need is not just the total cancellation. We want to see the percentage of the cancellation we have. So to create that right now, click back right here. So right now we have to just say percentage of cancellation. So it's going to be equal to divide, using the divide function. So the new measure we've just created for cancellation is going to be the total cancellation right here. So we divide that by what? By the total transaction. And the default is going to be 0. Close and hit your enter key. Alright, if this is your first time to actually hit this particular YouTube channel, you might want to do me the favor to hit the subscribe button, and as well, if you are some kind of a returning subscriber, leave a comment, let me know what you feel about all my videos, and let's see how we can proceed from here. So now we've just gotten this created, and this is what we're looking for. Now we have to format this to a percentage, and we can decide to remove the 2 decimal points or just have 1 decimal place for it. So now, nice work done. So it is time for we to actually use the right chart to actually have this visualized. And what will be the right chart for me to use? So I'm going to have to remove my total revenue from here. I'm going to remove my revenue lost. And now we have to come right here to have our, cancellations right here. So not just like this, we have one more to create. That is the average daily rate. So to create the average daily rate, we just have to check the column where we're going to have that created from. So we just have to scroll to this end. So this is the column on highlight. So we have average daily rate right here. So how do we do this? So let's just go back. So we're going to have to insert a new measure. Make sure you have this particular measure folder clicked on. So click it. So I'm going to type in here AVG for average daily revenue rate. So it's going to be equal to, I'm going to use the average function, and I'm going to bring the average right here. So average daily rate. So if I have it closed and I hit my enter key, that is all we have to do right now. So we have to format this to $1 number formatting, and quickly we put 0 to remove any preceding numbers, right? Okay, now we are set to actually get our visualization up and rolling. So I'm going to actually bring this one right here. I have to push the cancellation to, okay, now we have to choose the right, chart, which is going to be this particular line and stacked column chart right here for it. So to do that right now, we have to come right here and push the cancellation to the line area. And it will now create something like this for us. This is what we need to do. So we are just coming up to be very close to what is here. We are not yet right here yet because the design is different right now, but don't worry, we're going to actually have something exactly just like what we have right now. Right. The next part is for we to check and see how we can actually create this particular cancellation rate by lead time. All right, how can we actually do this, and what is lead time in hotel booking? Let us check Google to see what that is. I'm going to actually open Google. So we're going to have to come right here. I'm going to click here. So I'm going to type in here, what is lead time in a hotel booking. So we have to understand what it is before we can actually create something. Now right here we have something for us. So it says booking or reservation lead time is the period of time, most typically measured in calendar days, between when a guest makes the reservation and the actual check-in arrival date. So the average lead time, or the whatever. So just read through this and understand it. So now you've actually seen what the lead time is. This is what I do when I'm working with a data set I don't understand the business to the core. After speaking to the client or to my boss based on the data, I make my background research to actually get myself acquainted with the domain knowledge of the company. Now you've known what lead time is. Let us see how we can actually transform this lead time on the Parkery environment. So now coming back right here, you can click on this particular transform. Okay, we are back to Parkery right now. So we just have to scroll through on the fact table. We're going to scroll through, and we have to locate where we have the lead right here. Okay, we should have it around here. Okay, now we have the lead time. Can you see that right now? And the definition of the lead time should be very clear to you before you can be able to make a decision, right? So I'm going to actually highlight from here down to here. Based on my highlight right now, what you see is, most topically measured in calendar days, like the days between when a guest makes the reservation, the day he makes the reservation of the hotel, and the day he actually checked in or arrived into the hotel. So now that you've understood what that is, if you don't understand, please make your research to understand this in a detailed way before you can actually make decision of what to actually create as an insight, right? So what can we do for this? So we have to actually come right here and open this place up, so you can see it starts from 0 and the number keep increasing in days. You get it? So what are we going to do? We are going to some kind of like create 2 different buckets for this. And how do we do that? Is by adding columns or new conditional column. So I'm going to actually click on add column and come to conditional column right here. And under the conditional column name, so I'm going to actually have to type in lead time transformed. So we are transforming these particular numbers into something that is going to be actionable. So you are going to actually get the column. So just the lead time, if it is equal to 30. So not equal to, if it is equal or less than, that is gonna be okay. We're going to use if it is less than or equal to 30. So if it is less than or equal to 30, which means it's going to be stopping at 30 and go down to 0, right? So what do you want if that is the case? Now if that is the case right now, it's going to be 0 to 30 days. 0 to 30 days. And if it is not, we just want to say greater than 30 days. So greater than 30 days. So I'm gonna come right here and hit OK, and now we're gonna have a new column inserted for us, just transformed from here. Can you see it? So now we have this column because they're all 0, so it's actually going to be, so we can filter through here to see what it is. So we have from 0 to 30, and right now if I uncheck this and just keep 0 to 30 right now, I'm going to click on OK right here. So we have to scroll back to where we have the lead time right on. Then we can now see what's from 0 to 30 is going to fall into. So now you can see 7, 13. Can you see? Whatever number we're going to see right now is going to be between 30 and below, not going to be above. Can you see that right now? That is what I'm talking about. So we've just gotten that created. So we don't have to keep the filter. We have to come right here and actually clear the filter. Or you can click on clear the filter right here and change the format to what to text. That is the data type we have to use. So it's going to be text. So now this is all we have to do. If you want to actually add some little flavor to make sure whoever comes to the back end knows what is going on right here right now, what you can do is to make sure you come here on this particular part and tell story with this. How do you do that? You can actually double click or right click on it. So if you double click, it's going to open for you to edit. That is not what I want to do. So just right click on it and you're going to see where we have rename, and you're going to actually see transform lead time. So that is exactly what we've done. We've transformed the lead time right here. So let's say you are actually trying to some kind of make changes, and when you came right in, you don't know which one is which. Maybe you've actually added a lot of steps. What you can do is to actually look at what the names of those steps is actually, is right here. You've gotten it. You can click on this particular gear icon and it's going to actually open this back for you, and you can make your changes right here. You get it? So close this because we don't really need it. I'm going to come to home and close and apply. So right now we need to use the new dimension we've just created. So here is lead time transformation, and here we go, 0 to 30 and greater than 30 right here. So the next thing for me to actually get and grab right now is gonna be my percentage of cancellation. So once I've gotten this, I'm not just going to actually leave it like this. I want to actually pick up the right chart for it, which is going to be this chart right here. So I'm going to have to bring this right to this particular aspect, and can take it up and bring it all the way down a bit. Okay, nicely done. So we have to some kind of copy this and Control V to paste it down. We can move this right here. Don't worry about the arrangement and how we can actually make the dashboard look very wonderful. So the next one is actually I'm gonna have to move this away from here, and I'm gonna pick up the average daily rating right here. So we're gonna have to make this to make a good sense by making it to communicate something very important when the time comes, using color to tell the story and all of that. So but just bear with us to see what this is all about right now. I'm gonna have to reduce this, so reduce this a bit. So we'll come back to this in a jiffy, and quickly I'm gonna have to copy, Control V to paste it down. I'm gonna have this one right here. So I want to see cancellation by weekdays, so which means I have to remove this. I'm gonna have to remove this when I come to percentage of not percentage of cancellation, but this time around we're going to use numbers of cancellation, which is the first one we've just gotten created. Total cancellation we have here. So now we need to do that by the weekdays, right? This is what we have. So we've just gotten this created. This is awesome. So it is time for we to tell story using colors. If you look at what we have right now, this red always depicts something negative. Now here is revenue lost. Here is talking about cancellation. Here is talking about cancellation as well. And here the red is is it orange, whatever it is, it's talking about cancellation. While this particular one is depicts something high or something gold. Right? This is what it is. So how can we some kind of have our dashboard to look just like this is the next thing we have to go into, because we've done something a little, but we have to actually make sure we go according to what the client is actually looking forward to seeing. All right. Remember, we have two types of hotel, which is this resort and city. So if you want to know what is resort and what is city hotel, you can actually do your background research on Google as well to know and understand what these two types of hotels, actually is. So we're not going to concern ourselves about the definition or what it is right now. Is to see how we can actually create or surround our insights right here on that result. So quickly have this particular part opened, and what you can have right now is filter on this page or filter on all pages, because we are trying to create just a single page dashboard there. It will not be necessary for we to use all pages. What I'm going to do right now is that if you want to some kind of quickly have something on a particular table and you have a lot of table opened, just go right here, collapse and open it back, and you're going to have every single table shut down. And now we can go straight up to where we want to go, and here we have it. I'm going to have to move this hotel and have it right here, and now we can choose between city and resort. I'm going to pick this right here, and this will definitely filter my data and shrink it to what the client is looking forward to seeing. That is not all. Remember, we are analyzing for 2016. How do we go about it? So we have to go ahead and open the calendar table, and now we have to get in the month right where it should be. Now let's scroll down a bit. So I'm gonna grab the month, sorry, not the month for now, the year. I'm gonna have it right here. So I'm gonna have to scroll down. So from here, I'm gonna choose from here, basic filtering. Now we have to go ahead and select the year we're trying to get insight from, which is gonna be 2016. So now can you see that? So it has filtered our table for us. So that is exactly what it is. So the next one we're gonna do right now is not gonna affect this particular table and this table, but it's gonna affect this, and this. That is for the summer. So what can we do? Individually, just go ahead and click this, and now open this place up. What we're going to do right now is gonna be visual filtering. Visual filtering, it says filter on this visual, which means whatever filter we place right here right now would only affect this particular visual right here. It has nothing to do with this visual, this, and any other visual on any other subsequent pages we are going to create. What about this filter on this page? When we actually create any filter right now, it's going to affect the whole visuals we have on this page. And filter on all pages will affect the subsequent pages we're going to be added. So now the very one we're going to use is filter on this visual, and what I want is the month. I'm going to drag the month and have it right here. So right now we have to select 2 of the month, which is July and August. So it only has effect on this, and I'm going to do the same thing to this one as well. I'm going to drag the month right here, and quickly we have to select July and August. So we can do the same thing to this as well. So we have to quickly drag this right here, and we're gonna have to select July and what? July and August. Oh, sorry, I think we made a mistake. We put it at the wrong place. I've removed that. It's not gonna have to affect it anymore. So drag it and have it right here instead. And we have to bring it down, and we'll have it affect this. So that is all we have to do. Right now, we've just done something according to what we are expected to actually deliver based on what we have read on our task, when we started the video, and this is exactly what you should do to have such analysis created. So it is time to actually have this cleaned up and make a very clean, good dashboard.